Thank you for joining us on this edition of the show. My guest has been at the forefront of empowering people to be in control of their digital identities and the role that blockchain can play. But that's on the interview segment. We've got a lot more lined up for you, but first, some tech news and updates. This is Tech Trends, and I'm Chukwuemeka Agbata.
Science and technology are a propellant for building a thriving country, and the happiness of the people and the future of the country hinge on their development. Cities around the world are adopting technologies that will ensure they book their place as smart city initiatives set in around the world, witnessing the fourth industrial revolution backed by innovation and technology. In order not to be left out, Lagos State on a yearly basis brings industry experts together to brainstorm on how it can achieve this feat. This year, the Art of Technology Lagos 2.0 focuses on the data value chain as an enabler of a smarter Lagos.
A smarter Lagos, a smarter city.
Discussions border on how data and technology can help drive development from gender inclusion, job creation, healthcare, energy and environment, as well as funding for startups, among others.
For us as a government, we've developed what we call a smart city agenda. And in that our smart city agenda, young forward-looking Nigerians everywhere in the world can indeed come together, right, and create a city that is not only resilient, but a city that works truly for all of us.
It's now evident that within the next decade, Nigeria will cease to be a country whose main contribution to the world is crude oil. The resources that we have, which are in increasingly high demand globally, are your capacity for innovation, your imagination, your creative content, and your highly adaptive solutions. Your minds and workspaces are the refineries of the present and the future.
Governor Sanwo-Olu unveils Startup Lagos, a platform to avail entrepreneurs the springboard to global success in years to come.
The Co-Innovation Center Partners is big and highly focused on civic tech, and that's why we have a very strong partnership with Lagos State to curate and bring together the actors in the ecosystem with the policymakers and see how we can move Lagos forward.
Technology is the drive for economic growth and development, and in a city whereby it's technologically driven, it creates employment, and it tends to bring about economic growth. And as a student, I've actually learned to actually imbibe the spirit of technology in whatever effort that we are actually putting. Just like the governor has said that smart Lagos is a Lagos whereby it's economically driven. It's a Lagos whereby employment is actually boosted. So I've learned actually about the importance of technology in a city, in a smart city like Lagos State.
Governor Sanwo-Olu says though the implementation of the Lagos Innovation Plan is still a work in progress, he remains optimistic that the techpreneurs in Nigeria will soon compete with their peers globally. The Art of Technology Lagos 2.0 is an opportunity to ensure stakeholders actively participate in the smart Lagos development process and chart a new vision for the next phase of development to make Lagos Africa's key tech hub. The worrisome case of high unemployment has led to a number of initiatives targeted at helping to reduce this scary reality confronting our nation today. One way experts canvass as the way forward is to improve capacity and upgrading the skills of young people to prepare for a 21st century world.
How will I sell? What should I sell?
IG Hub Africa, a hub and youth development center with headquarters in the southeastern part of Nigeria, holds the first of its kind digital fair.
Call yourselves together. Solve a problem.
The project, tagged IG Hub Netpreneurship and Developers Fellowship, focuses on addressing the issue of high unemployment amongst the youths, which speaks clearly to SDG Goal 8, decent work and economic growth.
Our interest is to create solve the problem of unemployment by providing skills, but we don't just want to stop at providing skills. We want to move these skills we have provided to jobs. Okay, so we designed this program by training them only on the skills that this industry needs, that this community needs. So we brought in this community today and also brought in some skills and spent some time to prepare these graduates, these trainees on job readiness skills so that these companies are able to employ them and get them to start working almost immediately.
The skills acquired from UI/UX design, mobile development, digital marketing, graphics design, front-end and back-end web development were strategically selected due to their high employability status in today's world.
Before joining this program, I've always been passionate about design. I love designs, I loved what people posted online. It impressed me, and I was really willing to understand the processes behind this execution and understand how to do it by my own self. Fortunately, I came across a flyer. A friend shared it with me. A flyer about IGHub offering free training. What caught my attention was the free, so I was interested. I asked for the process and I was told that I just had to visit the hub and pass through the interview. I came around, I was asked a few questions, and answering it, I was offered a spot in the fellowship.
Generally, it's a wonderful experience, and I want to encourage every female out there that the tech is not for the guys alone. Tech is for everybody, it's not gender-based. So whether you're a female or you're a male, you are welcome into the space. And as a female, I'm doing very well and very fine in this space. So therefore, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. We need more females in this space.
If the government can provide a platform that will help to finance startups, there are upcoming startups like we, I think it will go a long way to help us to sort out some of the challenges we are having that has to do with financing. Almost all the developers that work with us, they are students and fresh graduates. So they are looking for something to be getting as a source of income, not something they are building in a long time and they are not getting anything from it. So they need something that would sustain them in the process of building this startup.
As we begin to reimagine future skills for young people to succeed in the 21st century, governments, NGOs, as well as the private sector need to set up to create programs to train today's youths to maximize their adaptation and deployment. A team of friendly robots are giving a much-needed boost to both staff and residents at a German care center for the elderly by helping to enforce coronavirus hygiene measures. With his big eyes and cheerful voice, Pepe is particularly a favorite with clients.
If he could cook, clean and do laundry, then I'd adopt him. That's how much I like him.
The Caritas St. Johan's Daily Care Center first acquired Pepe in 2018.
We have something for everyone. We have robots that can greet people and measure their temperature. We have robots that can deliver food and disinfectant. And we have robots that can play therapeutic games with the clients.
Manufactured by Japan's SoftBank Robotics and standing at 1.2 meters high, he can lead clients in therapeutic exercises and games, sing songs and even tell stories in Turkish for non-German speaking clients. The care center's chairman says the coronavirus pandemic has seen the decision to add robots to the team really pay off.
In 2018, we started with Pepe to take the load off the staff, not to replace them. That's a very important point. And now with coronavirus, it's proved to have been a good decision because Pepe and Jamie can help with temperature checks, greeting people, giving information, and caring for the guests.
As well as Pepe, 2 other robots are providing extra support during the crisis. Jamie greets visitors at the door, making sure they are wearing a mask and measuring their temperature. This frees up the staff for their caring duties. Meanwhile, Aka navigates automatically around the room, bringing disinfectant and hand sanitizer to care workers. Here are some tech tips that may keep you safer from coronavirus. With the novel coronavirus spreading fast, social distancing, self-isolation and remote work have come into play in several of the affected countries. Well, now seems to be a good time to take advantage of the benefits of your mobile phone and technology. But first, let's disinfect your phone. An easy step is to use a 70% isopropyl alcohol wipe or disinfecting wipes to gently wipe the exterior surfaces of your phone. Please do not submerge your phone in any cleaning agents or bleach. Once your smartphone is thoroughly germ-free, here's a few other hints for using tech to increase your chances of staying healthy. Set up Apple or Google Pay. If you must venture into the physical world, make sure you have a mobile payment app like Apple or Google Pay installed on your smartphone. Using these payment apps to buy the last hand sanitizer lets you avoid touching cash or credit cards or any store touch screens. All you have to do is wave your phone in front of the payment terminal screen. Use telemedicine and online mental health apps. Although smartphone apps are no substitute for meeting face-to-face with your doctor or therapist, some people may still prefer to seek treatment from home. Healthcare providers offer telemedicine services for their customers this period. Install an air quality index app on your smartphone. The coronavirus is more dangerous for people who have pre-existing respiratory problems. To keep their lungs healthy, they can use Air Quality Index app to avoid places with high pollutant levels. And if your air quality app tells you your home has the air quality of Los Angeles on a particular day, you know that you have some cleaning to do. Carry a stylus to avoid interacting with touch screens. You may have to touch a dirty touch screen if you venture out for a cup of coffee or grocery store. Luckily, owning a Style Plus pen can eliminate the need to drag your fingers across screens that thousands of people have already touched. Of course, this means you need to keep your stylus pen clean. Hang out online. If the usual Friday night down at the pub is no longer an option, have you considered setting up a Google Hangout, Skype call or FaceTime group as an alternative? Pick a time, connect, crack open your bottle of wine at home and catch up.
Next is my chat with Monique Morrow, co-founder, Humanized Internet. Stay with us.
Digital identity has been established as one of the most significant technology trends on the planet. It's a set of validated digital attributes and credentials for the digital world, similar to a person's identity for the real world. Usually issued or regulated by a national ID scheme, a digital identity serves to uniquely identify a person online or offline. Although your physical identity and your digital identity are different, the concepts are the same. Both need to be protected. You need to ensure that you are not providing your information to people, systems, or websites that cannot be trusted. The concept of digital identity might sound complex, but it's quite easy to grasp. It's essentially any personal data existing online that can be traced back to the real you. More like an extended identity card or passport containing almost the same information. A digital identity is more than your login credentials. It consists of thousands of data points that make up a profile of who you are and your preferences. Today, your digital identity is scattered all over the internet. Where social media owns our social identity, retailers own our shopping patterns, credit agencies hold our credit worthiness, your bank owns your payment history. As a result, we are all analyzed in detail to predict our future behavior and monetize our digital identities. In a world where more applications and services are being offered by different service providers, more people and organizations are facing the same problems when it comes to digital identities. Hence the need for a better way for your digital identity to follow you. Our guest is Monique Monroe, president of the Vettery Foundation and co-founder of the Humanized Internet, and she shares her thoughts on how individuals can secure and stay in control of their digital identities.
Monique, glad to have you on the show today.
It's a pleasure to be here, Fred. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Let's look at connectivity as it is today.
Yep.
What are some of the danger signs that you see with the way the internet is evolving?
I think the way the internet is evolving right now is there are things we have to pay attention to. Is one, from the business perspective, is what I will call ethical use of the internet. You know, what are our ethics? How do we use that? Technology is not, has no agency, so it's mainly about the ethical use. One of the alarming things that I am seeing is how the internet is. How people are abusing the internet to abuse others. If you think about it, if I don't like you, I could actually put a picture about you and say that you were doing bad things to other people. So that's the thing that we have to pay attention to, is the abuse of the internet, or using the internet for abuse, using the internet for abuse against people. I'm paying attention to cyber mobbing, with children involved, which is very important. Parents need to be involved with their kids on responsible use of the internet. What happens is that the way children use the internet, especially with the mobile phone, they could actually, we were all teenagers once. We all know that space very well. And it's hard, right? And so, when you were bullied, unfortunately, people get bullied. But now it's a terrible thing that's being done with these tools. And what happens is that, what we're seeing is that a high rate of suicide amongst teenagers, particularly. I mean, that depends on the geography, but it's something to pay attention to.
Interesting. I mean, everything you just said now, they are happening already. These are real challenges, but I mean, it begs the question why, what needs to happen. What are some of your thoughts on the way forward?
Oh, it's a great question, Fred. I mean, because it's a dynamic look. It's a problem that starts, or a problem. There are areas that we have to think about. What is it? How is it in your home? If you think about it, Steve Jobs, and Bill Gates never allowed their children to have phones until they were young adults, quote unquote. And there was a reason for that, right? Because it was, how are you going to protect them from, once you're in that cyberspace, you're in the cyberspace. And so it's one area. So what do you do at home? Number one. And I think that's one. Number two is businesses. That's one aspect. The technology companies have to define responsible use. I mean, that's where everybody's looking at it. As you can think, if you smoke a pack of cigarettes, they say, well, these cigarettes could cause cancer. You can say, well, this is how the technology was defined for responsible use, And I think the third thing is doing what we're doing today is through your super podcast, an interview is to get people aware, to have that sense of awareness of what the potential abuse can be. And that means also looking at how you use privacy, how you use these tools, Instagram, and so on. The thing you have to be cognizant of is once you're on the internet, now you choose to be, right? Well, once you're on the internet, whether it's through all of these wonderful technologies, Instagram and whatever your favorite tool is to show and have a dialogue, you can never remove yourself. It's forever and ever and ever and ever there. And so, you have to think about when you're going for a job interview, people will actually start looking at Instagram, they'll start looking at what you were doing in Facebook, and they start looking at that and going, well, you said, well, yeah, but I was young then. And they're kind of thinking, so it's like, it's that, I mean, because it's wonderful. Don't get me wrong. No, Fred, it's a wonderful tool. So much is happening. And with COVID, look at how you and I are connecting. Yeah. It would have been great, to have traveled and to have met you face to face, whether, we meet in Lagos or wherever we want to, wherever we meet, and I've been invited many times to on the continent, but we can't anymore right now because of the way we have this pandemic. And if anything, this pandemic has done is promoted more and more use of the internet. And so that's a thing that we have to now be really cognizant of. Yeah.
All right, Monique, my final question, because time is over.
It's never a final question, Fred.
With blockchain, with robotics, with AI, how complicated do you see data privacy becoming, for example?
Yeah, I mean, that's a fantastic question. Well, all of these, when you think about the Internet of Things and things, everything exudes data. We are just pulsating data. You wear an Apple Watch or whatever watch you're wearing, you're pulsating data. So privacy becomes a very major topic. I'm also involved with the World Economic Forum on data policy on privacy, because here's the thing. You should be able to control where your data is going and for what purpose. And that flips the discussion a bit. You could have a health problem and your data is going to insurance companies or for other research and you don't know it. This is what they call self-sovereign identity. I think the privacy issue is one that we need to resolve for. It's not just having privacy laws in place. It's more or less how, because we have compliance, companies will look at compliance and companies will look at risk. And countries, I think even Kenya's, for example, in Kenya, they're looking at adopting very similar privacy laws like in Europe, like this whole notion of GDPR. But I think we need to go beyond the laws. I think we have to think about how do you or should you control the data? And people will say, well, you can never control the data. I said, well, you could probably think about what is transparent and around how that data flows. And I think we need to have much more of a discussion on that. And, if somebody is some entities in the background looking at your data and monetizing your data and you're not knowing, and you're not part of the monetization process, you'd like to be, but you're not, wouldn't you like to be? So this topic, we can continue this topic. And for your listeners and viewers, there's a lot of things that have to happen in this one.
Monica, I'm sure we'll come back to this again, but thank you for being on the show today. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Fred. Pleasure.
I've been chatting with Monique Morrow, who doubles as the president of the Vettery Foundation and co-founder of the Humanized Internet. Both are featured helping people to safeguard their digital identities. I particularly like the fact that Monique shared how blockchain can help, particularly for a young continent like Africa. Loads of opportunities for skill, if you ask me. This is where we'll do the cutting on this edition of the show. But it doesn't end here. The conversation continues online. We are Tech Trends TV on social media. Also watch the show on Channels TV YouTube or cfablog.ng. For Tech Trends, I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.